Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of 8+1 The Classroom. Today, I have a guest again. My guest today is Esai. Esai is a filmmaker, a producer. Esai he had his big breakthrough here from Kansas City, and he's done some work for Netflix and in other really beautiful projects. If you ever seen the Joe Black Kansas City music video, this is the guy behind it. He's the real deal when it comes to things like that. Isai, welcome to 8+1 The Classroom, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you bringing me on. This is a really cool experience, and yeah, when you reached out, I was like, bro, I'll come on for sure. You know, yeah.
It's a blessing, man. It's actually a blessing. I've actually been following your page for a while now, just checking some of your work and being, getting inspired by it. You know what I mean? So to get the opportunity just to sit down and talk to you, even if it's not a podcast, just to sit down just and talk to you about film work and filmmaking and stuff like that. I would do that any day. You know what I mean? With or without the cameras. You see what I'm saying? So
for sure, bro.
I appreciate you actually, coming and sitting down with me.
Of course, man. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited for our conversation.
Yeah. I'm excited too. So I'm gonna start from the beginning, right? I'm gonna try to get to know you as much as possible, right? So tell me about young Esai in Wyandotte County growing up.
Yeah. Man, young Esai. So both my parents are Mexican. They, I have a brother and sister. They were both born in Mexico. I was the only one that was born here. So my parents moved to Kansas City like in the early 90s, and then they had me in 1995. I popped out. Accident baby. My mom was not expecting to have another one. But most of my childhood was really kind of like in two different worlds. So like I said, I was born in Wyandotte, but my childhood as far as like living there, I don't remember too much because we moved to a suburb in North Kansas City on the Missouri side. So most of my recollection and memory of my childhood comes from like those suburbs. But my parents also had a Mexican food restaurant. So like if I wasn't at school, like my early years, I was at the restaurant, in Wyandotte County. And eventually they got a seafood restaurant. My sister opened up a seafood restaurant, and kind of like partnered and gave it to my mom. So I spent like my weekends on Central Ave in Wyandotte, and then like the rest of my time in North KC suburb, So we were the first Mexican family in our neighborhood, like it was a bunch of older white people. A lot of them were retired. And, we pull up and we have like this gigantic food truck, and my parents are up in the morning, like grilling the carne asada, what I mean? Like the most like stereotypical like Mexican like experience, bro. Like I used to get rides to school from my neighbors and they would always say I smell like burritos. And I couldn't even be mad at them because I'm like, yeah, like we've been making burritos all morning, So I was like, yeah, but like it was a really interesting time because I got to learn so much about just different experiences in different walks of life, like people in Wyandotte County are way different than like where I went to school, in middle school or high school. So it was cool to be like still like in Little Mexico in Wyandotte, but then also like in American suburbia in North KC.
There's a huge disparity there. I live in North KC, and I worked in Wyandotte County for 3-4 years. So I can tell you there's a huge disparity, and also just the Mexican presence in Wyandotte, especially off of
Central, 10th and Central Ave,
Central Ave and Kansas Avenue,
Minnesota, Kansas,
off of that area is a huge presence of them. Around that area.
It's Little Mexico for real. Like every tire shop, restaurant, like barbershop, it's like all Hispanics that own them or work out of them. So Yeah, it's definitely way different. It's like a little Mexico. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So how did you get your start on as far as filmmaking and camera work and stuff like that?
Yeah. So my start really started on YouTube. So when I was in 6th grade, my parents, for my birthday, asked them for a camera. I was like, I really want a video camera. And, they got me a little, it wasn't a VHS camera. It was like the mini DVDs, with a little circle. And it was like a little Panasonic Handycam. And that was like my first camera. And I made a YouTube channel called 13Esai. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna start like making YouTube videos. And this is back when like YouTube was still new, like a couple years old. But I was really inspired by like the comedy sketch channels like Smosh and Ryan Higa and like a bunch of other popular channels back then. So I grouped up all my friends in my neighborhood and we would just shoot like random comedy sketches. And I didn't know how to edit. So I would record it on the camcorder. And like the start of it would be the start of like the take. Yeah. And then when I would stop would be like the end of that take.
And that's how you just put it up.
And then, because like you only had one shot because I didn't know how to edit it. So I would just get that file off of the computer and upload it to YouTube. So like I didn't have, if I messed up, it's kind of like TikTok now. Yeah. Like you record a little bit and then you record again. And then if it's not good, you delete it and start over. It was kind of like that. But yeah, so then I started making YouTube videos all throughout middle school, high school, and I started to get a little bit of buzz like, oh, that's Esai the YouTuber, right? And then like I remember I would go to like different classrooms in high school and like my teachers would be showing my videos to the class without me even being there. It was kind of like it was really cool to get the support. So yeah, I started off just with the dream to be a big YouTuber, you know what I mean? And then that kind of trickled into, okay, like, how do I start to make money off of it? Like once I was like a senior in high school, I started asking the questions of like, okay, like how do I make this a career? So my first, thought was, oh, I'll go to film school. But the early days, it was just all YouTube for sure.
How was the experience of going to film school?
It was interesting because I was in school for 3 years. And I was in 3 different schools. So I went to Northwest Missouri State for a little bit and I really enjoyed it there up in Maryville, Missouri. But it was more like broadcasting. It was like mass media, which is honestly a great curriculum because it kind of prepares you for like every aspect of production as far as like the different industries. So like there's like filmmaking classes, but then there's also like broadcasting classes and, like business or production law or whatever it's called, but it was definitely more geared towards broadcasting. And I was like, I don't want to do broadcasting, like I don't care to be like a news reporter or something. Yeah. So I found a film school in Missouri Western that they had a film program. It was cinema and it was theater and cinema. So it was a combined program, which is really cool because like with YouTube, I acted a lot for my videos. So that was like the first time I got to like actually take acting classes, music classes, theater classes, alongside my like video production stuff, like all my video production classes. So that was a really, really fun time. And then I went to community college for a little bit because I had like a few, like I think it was A+ credits. Yeah. So I got free college through community college. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that for a semester. But yeah, I liked it a lot, man. Like, did you go to like any type of film school or like?
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all. I'm self-taught. I started all of this through YouTube.
Yeah.
So I watch videos here and then I'll put that into practice. There's a lot of interviews when I first started. There's tons of interviews that I did and probably forgot to record something, press record. Yeah. Halfway through the interview, something is out. Go home, put the look at the files. Yeah. Out of focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel your
now,
pain.
even now I have challenges.
Yeah.
Even till this day, I run into some stuff. I take everything home and I look at it, and I don't like the way some certain things are set up.
Yeah.
The camera settings are a little off. Yeah, I run into that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's something you're going to face like always, you know, it doesn't matter how experienced you are. Like you will always have, you know, the little things you don't think about.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm like starting to realize, like a really good production is mostly like a really prepared pre-production.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so what's the kind of like your idea of film school? Because a lot of people ask me that. They're like, yeah, like, do you recommend going to film school? But I kind of want to get your idea of like what you think like about film school.
I actually want to go to film school.
You do?
I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I really do want to go to film school, because the ultimate goal for me is I want to travel around the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually do interview, but at the same time, when I'm there, take on the opportunity there to tell stories beyond just sitting down and interviewing. So it could be documentary, it could be short films that actually tell a story of a particular location.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I equip myself enough to be able to do that to my standard of flawlessness? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I actually think at some point it's going to be the University of YouTube is not going to give me all of what I need. I don't think so. So I actually really think just going to film school and having that classical training is going to help that.
Yeah. I think film school does give you a little bit of confidence, because having a professor there and being able to ask them any question, making sure that, like, you know, because I think the biggest thing with being self-taught is the uncertainty if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You know you're doing it in a way that works, but is it the right way?
Yes.
But I've honestly like realized that there is the right way to do stuff for sure. Yeah. But there's also really respected people that I see in the industry that their biggest strength is doing it completely different. Yeah. You know what I mean? A good example is like a really technical position that I did for a little bit that I realized I didn't like was AC, which is assistant camera. And assistant camera, like there's definitely a way to like set up for a shoot, right? Because an assistant camera, you're like helping build the camera, rig the wires, change camera settings, change lenses, set up tripods, pretty much anything that has to do with camera support and the camera you're in charge of for your cinematographer. And there's so many little things, like there's so many particular things that you have to remember. It could be like the right wire, the right power distribution to make sure the battery isn't gonna, you know, mess up like the monitor if you plug it in a certain way and all this stuff. But like it also, with it being that technical and there being so many little moving parts, there's so many different ways to do something the right way. You know, it's like a math equation. So like it could be like, you know, 10 plus 10 equals 20, or it could be 2 plus 2 plus 5 minus 6 plus 8. You know what I mean? Yeah. To get to the 10. Yeah. To the number 20. So I think filmmaking is similar in that sense. Especially documentary work, because documentary work, there's no script, you know, it's, most of my work is documentary work. And when you go interview someone that isn't an actor, you kind of just hope for the best. You prepare your questions and you make sure you have all your bases covered to help them get hopefully the response that you're looking for. But it could be a complete dud and they might not give you anything. Or it could be way different than what you have prepared, but it's more powerful. It gets emotion out of them that you wouldn't have thought of, you know what I mean? So film school is nice, but I do want you to know, like, the uncertainty is always going to be there, you know? Okay. And the more you do it yourself and the more you are, the more practice you put in, the more hours, the more hard work you put into it, you're going to start to have that confidence. So even if like someone's like, oh, you shouldn't do it that way, you're like, well, it works. Look, I just did this last video and it worked great, you know? But yeah, and film school is expensive. Like film school is very, very expensive. And I think it's worth it if you go to the right program.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff now. Like even like the master courses and stuff that you can buy and all that stuff is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm actually just purchased a master course.
Yeah.
Yeah. An online master course that I'm on music videos that I've been.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, I just started. But the thing is this though. I agree with what you said because when you're interviewing people, right? I think interviewing is an art of its own because I have done this. This is my maybe 40th episode, if not more, right? Out of that 40, I've done in total maybe 50 interviews. Out of the 50, there is probably 10 or 11 that is never gonna get put out, right? And the people I interviewed, one person for sure I know really feels some type of way, was really not happy with me at the moment, right? But
because you didn't put it out?
Yeah. But somehow I have one mic on and one mic off. So her side of the interview is camera audio. And you know how horrible that is, right?
Yeah.
My side of the interview is the microphone audio. So it's like little things like that. So I decided not to put it out.
Yeah.
She's not happy with that. Some, you just can't get information out of people. Sometimes you just can't break through people and get the emotions that you're trying to find or a perfect interview that you're trying to find. One thing I noticed is at first I used to come here really early and set all the cameras and all the lights and everything on before the guests come in, right? Certain people, when they walk into that, they just shut down. Like it's a lot of lights, 3 cameras. They're already like, oh my God. So with that, being that nervous, it's hard to kind of break the ice and get to them. Because when people are nervous, emotionally, they put a wall.
Yeah.
So to break through the wall and actually get to people and get the information that you need, the emotions that you need, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
And there's certain people that you really don't know what this interview is going to go because you really don't know them. And I see the cross from them and I start asking questions and it clicks and they start, like they give you some of the most raw and some of the most unscripted emotions that you can ever find. And I go, God damn, like this is what I'm trying to get to. Yeah. So I agree 100% with that, especially if they're not actors. If these are just people who work a 9 to 5. You know, they're not actors. So the ability, they don't have the coaching or the preparation that anybody else has.
Yeah.
So it's really something that is a hit or miss. So I agree with what you say.
And it's just setting the tone, like as the producer or director, you know, the person that's doing the interview, people can immediately tell like energy, right? Yeah. Like they might not be able to even understand it themselves, but like if I came in here and you were like all over the place, super like nervous, like dropping stuff, like you pick up on that subconsciously. But if you come in here and it's like super chill, cracking jokes, like you want to send me a drink, you know what I mean? Like subconsciously people feel that. And I think that some of the best interviewers understand that. Yeah, you know?
That is very true. When I first started, I used to be nervous myself. My palms are sweating. Yeah. I'm just, not only am I like nervous, but at the same time, I'm anxiety all over the place because I'm like, oh my God, I wish this is not bad too. I wish something did not happen. I wish the lights is not messed up. I just keep like, I'm interviewing people. While I'm interviewing them, my mind is, I'm doing this the whole time I'm interviewing people, you know? So people pick on that. So when they pick on that, they start getting worried themselves too. They'll say, I know what he's doing. You know what I mean? So that comes off in the interviews and you don't end up getting the best out of people. Yeah. So now always said half of the stuff, almost everything.
Yeah.
And then when people come in, I said the other half. I start talking to people before I even start the interview.
Yeah.
We start having conversations about, sometimes people work in tents. So when I start having those conversations with them, then if you see them like, they relax.
Yep. Exactly.
And sometimes I even jokingly tell them, and they're just like, "Oh, did you notice that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "That's why, I had conversations. We talk about stuff. We talk about sports.
Yeah.
We talk about music. We talk about this, and then they relax.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start the interview.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's an art. It's an art of its own, just to be able to break that ice with people. Because some of these people, I'm meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
So it's like,
no, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely an art, and it's such a good like exercise too. Like just being able to communicate and like being able to maneuver a conversation and get like excitement or seriousness out of people. It's such an important skill. Like communication is so slept on. I feel like people don't really
value it anymore.
Yeah, like communication is like so key, and I feel like a lot of people just talk at people.
Yeah, instead of talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
Yeah,
very important. Does that apply to you creating a film? Let's say like you're going to shoot a music video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Sweets, you shot her last music video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That video, let's look at that video from a wide perspective, right?
Uh-huh.
When you listen to the song, do you already have something already clicking in your mind while you're listening to the song? This is what I want to go, where I want to go with this, or do you usually just take from the artist and try to create whatever the artist has in mind?
I usually it's a mixture. It depends on the artist, depends on like the label, how much creative freedom you have. If I'm gonna direct a music video, I like to have as much creative freedom as possible. Mm-hmm. Just because to me the fun part is coming up with the concept. It's being able to have an idea for shots or a set design or something in my head, and being able to like listen to the song and figure out how to get these all to make sense. Mm-hmm. So with Sweets in particular, she was very hands off. She was like, I trust your vision. Like whatever it is that you need from me, like just let me know. Yeah. So with Sweets, I really had so much creative freedom, and her video changed quite a bit just logistically. It was what they had originally told me, because they had thought of an idea. It had like dancers and like choreography and a bunch of other stuff. Like the lead actor was going to be like, I forget who it was, but it was going to be like someone that was relatively well known and stuff. But as we got closer to it, stuff started falling through. Yeah. So when I made the treatment for that music video, a treatment essentially is just like, a run through overview. Mm-hmm. I try to make it as malleable. Like if stuff hit the fan, like I could change quickly. Yeah. So it's a really simple concept for Sweet's video. It was just, it's obviously, like a love song. And it has like that dance hall tropical vibe to it. Yeah. So we were looking to originally shoot it in like one of the islands that the Sweets is from. But then we ended up just doing it in Miami. Mm-hmm. And the concept of the story was really simple. It was just showing the relationship of the person she's singing about. Yeah. You know what I mean? And having it be like really like tropical vibey vibes, So that one was fun. Like we showed up, bro. Like it was me and like, I think we had like a crew of 3 or 4 people to light everything. Like, even act in it. Like a lot of the people that were on crew were acting in it, like in the party scenes. So like it was super like run and gun DIY, not a lot of prep time. We saw a lot of the places for the first time when we got there. Oh yeah. So I'm like, okay, we can light it this way, shoot this way, and we got to shoot like in 4 hours. Let's do it, So it was really fun in that sense, because it was a lot of pressure, but also they really trusted me just to kind of do my thing, which I enjoyed.
It came out well. It really did. I like it. I'm a huge dancehall fan.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of hers too.
Yeah.
That's the homie.
Yeah.
But the when I looked at it before I even knew who shot it, I looked at it and I was like, I think this is Isai.
Yeah.
Because the story is very simple, but in itself it's like there's complexity in it too. The video is complex, but also it's very simple. And it mirrored the music video, the song, but also it told the story of her Caribbean roots.
Mm-hmm.
So when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, this definitely is
Yeah.
IE.
Yeah.
And when I looked through everything, I was like, yeah, this is it. And to me, it's beautiful. You know what I mean? That creative process, just merging two things together. Like, this is my product, which is the song. And then they hand it to you, and then you look at it and say, okay, this is the treatment that I bring up. And then we put two things together and perform to create a perfect marriage. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, man. And that's a big, like, a big compliment has to be sent to like District and Joe Black and his whole label. You know, they put a lot of trust in me and just let me kind of do my thing. And I've had other artists and other labels where like they don't have that, you know what I mean? And it's a lot more friction. It's, you know, pulling, and it's more of a balance game at that point. And unfortunately, some projects I'm just like, you know, whatever makes the client happy, you know, like, you know, you start off very optimistic when it makes them crazy. And then halfway through it, you're like, we can tug a war and fight for, you know, ever, or we can just go make a good video. It might not be exactly what I want, but you know, half the game of doing this is compromising, you know what I mean? And just figuring out a way for the next one to have a little bit more leverage to be able to push your creative control. But with District and Joe Black and their label, they're awesome. They give me a lot of...
Joe, man. Joe is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He's amazing. He understands creativity a lot.
Yeah.
Joe, if you know Joe's journey to where he's at, he's like been through a lot. His journey is not a straight path up. So he understood what it means to be, you know what I mean, to be kind of hands off. Let me just take a step back and kind of let you do what you're doing. And it's beautiful too.
Yeah.
It's actually really beautiful too.
Have you had Joe on here?
Yeah.
I did.
I had him early on when I first started, like about a year ago, when I was still Joe accepted to do this when I was still like Yeah.
Joe, I love Joe, man. He definitely he
same here, bro.
Yeah.
Same here. Joe is, I just hit him once in a while. I just hit him up and just talk to him just to get some form of inspiration from him.
Yeah, Joe, man.
Joe is dope.
For sure.
Joe is dope. Let's talk about a little bit about pressure, right? Because doing what you do is a lot of pressure that comes with it. So how do you create that balance of dealing with people's work and also just the pressure of making sure I deliver?
Yeah, it's I was just thinking about this the other day. There's a lot of answers to that question, but my most recent thought I had with that is I try to take a step back and zoom out, you know, whenever I get overwhelmed or a little stressed out. And I think about how getting to be creative, especially as a career, how that's a privilege, you know? A lot of people aren't in a position to do this for a living, at least not yet, you know? So I always see it as a privilege, even on the worst day, even when the client or, you know, the artist or the studio, whatever, is like just a pain in the ass. I'm like, I'm still getting paid to do this. I'm still, you know, being able to pay my bills off of this. This is a privilege, you know? And then I also like take a step back and I realize like, this isn't the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like I think about EMTs a lot, and I'm like, an EMT literally has to get on the spot and save someone's life.
Yeah.
Like they see everyone they encounter on the job is having the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's pressure. that's real pressure. Like if you freeze, like that's someone's literally, their life is in your hands.
Yeah.
With directing a video, no one's gonna die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With you know, if I'm a cinematographer, like the shot's out of focus. Okay, let's get another one. If not, you know, hopefully the editor can edit around it. You know, like you know what I mean? Like, so it's harsh, you know, and like that's not what producers or clients want to hear. But in the back of my head, I have to remind myself that, because I'm like, no one's gonna die. You know what I mean? If I don't get this shot exactly how I want it, no one's gonna be like, oh, this is trash. Like we'll never hire Esai again, you know? So that's kind of how I deal with pressure on like a macro scale. When I just take a step back and I'm like, okay, like let's be realistic. Like no one's gonna die. But then also, pressure is just name of the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you have to perform, especially as a director, because people are looking at you. You know what I mean? So if you start to panic, if you start to second guess yourself, everyone starts to second guess themselves, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a trickle down effect.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I enjoy it. I enjoy like mostly the pre-production, because if you are ready in pre-pro, like directing and being in production is fun because you've thought of everything. It's like, oh, that light went out. Oh, the location fell through. It's okay. I already thought about it. You know, I have a backup plan. I have this or that. So, I really like to make my job more fun as a director. I have to have my pre-production, really down to a T. I find the times where I'm the most stressed out is because I'm underprepared, and I'm mad at myself because I'm like, why did I not prepare enough? Also, you know, it's most problems are fixable in pre-production. So yeah, number one is whenever you're on a creative project, think of EMT. Like that's real pressure. And then for two, preparation. Preparation gets rid of pressure. You know, there's no pressure to execute because you already did the execution in pre-production. Now you got to just follow the plan. You know what I mean?
So, being someone who's from a family of entrepreneurs, right? Mm-hmm. A family of business people, right? Mm-hmm. So you decide to bridge your way and do film and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. Do you have the pressure of, I have to make this work? Is that a thing? Because I don't know how supportive your family is your parents are when it comes, oh, I'm not doing this business that you people are doing. Yeah. I'm a filmmaker. Mm-hmm. To the average, I'm African. Mm-hmm. Parents, Mexicans and Africans are very similar. Mm-hmm. Me personally, with this video stuff, my podcast and my parents, my mom, she does not think this is a job.
Yeah, she's like, you can spend your time in a better way. You know?
Yeah. So, do you have that pressure of, I have to make this work?
Yeah, and my girlfriend could attest to this. Like those first few years, man, like there's a chip on your shoulder because you're constantly in the back of your head having to prove yourself, primarily to your family, you know? And for years, you know, my dad was like, what are you doing? Like, you need to, you know, stop making these silly videos with your friends and go, you know, like work at the restaurant or, you know, open up like he used to always tell me to open up like a corn. What did he say? Like open up like you know, those rolling carts? Yeah. You know, that you can set up like anywhere? Yeah. He said to like open up like an ice cream one and a corn one. And he's like, you can actually make money that way. He tried to break it down to me and be like, that's real. That's how you make real money. Not like making videos. And so early on, there was that pressure of like, for one, I need to prove that I can make money and a living off of this. But for two, like I need to prove myself right. You know what I mean? Like not only to them, but to myself. I'm like, can I actually, you know, be a filmmaker and support myself and, you know, like make this a career? And, you know, coming from, you know, people that are minorities, like there aren't any examples. Like no. I'm the first filmmaker in my family. You know what I mean? Like there's no one, like none of my cousins, none of my uncles, none of them do this as a career. So you're looking at other people on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at people on YouTube as like this is someone that I can like strive to be. Yeah, you know. So I think that's the beautiful thing now is that like I want to be that for someone else, especially people who are African or Mexican, you know, like it's like, yo, you can do it. You know what I mean? It's scary at times, but it's possible, you know?
Very possible. Yeah. I was just watching Mike Tyson and Angie Martinez interview the other day. And at some point in the interview, Mike Tyson asked Angie Martinez, say, who has done what you're trying to become? Right? And then for a minute, when I heard that, I stopped. I paused it, and I was just sitting thinking, like, so I'm not thinking in the light of who's doing what I'm trying to become. I'm thinking, what am I doing correctly, right? To be that for somebody, just like you just said. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes that starts us. Sometimes most of the stuff we started, right? It started as fun. Yeah. Super fun. We're just having fun, laughing around.
Yeah.
And then you start putting expectations on yourself. Family start putting expectations on you. And then it goes away from being fun to being just a pile of pressure, like stressed out.
Yeah.
Trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And that is, man, when I tell you sometimes, some nights, man, I go to sleep and my mind goes into how, because I still have I still have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I'm still thinking, get off of work late at night and I'm thinking like, how do I turn this into a full-time? How do I turn this into something that's going to pay the bills for me? Right?
Yeah.
Because the joy that I have when I leave home to come and do an interview, right? I am super happy, bro.
Yeah.
But when I leave home to go to work, I'm not that happy. And I have a really good job. I have a job that is a career. What I do I work for Marriott. You can turn into a career. It's people that work for Marriott for 24, 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, am I really finding joy? Do I have the same joy that I have here?
Yeah.
Coming here and talking to people. Do I have that over there? So I'm telling you, some nights I go home and my mind goes to that. Thinking about that, forget about sleeping. It's over. Like when I say it's over, so I could take sleeping pills, all kinds of stuff, nothing. And those things are dangerous. You can get addicted to those things. So I just was like, nah, well, I'm not sleeping. I guess I go put this computer on and watch some more YouTube videos on how to do the next project. Because it's, man, it can be stressful.
No. Look, I feel like there's been moments in my career where I've been in that exact same place. Like when I was in college, definitely was a time where I was like, how do I like, because I mean, school to me was easy, you know, like I was already very motivated. Like I had watched every YouTube video there was on filmmaking. So like, you know, it wasn't hard for me to perform and like be on the dean's list in college. But I'm like thinking, like, how do I like afford rent? You know, how do I like, you know, what's my monthly bills? Okay. How many videos do I have to shoot? What's the price? How many weddings? Like, do I work for a wedding company? How do I get in the game? So like, there was probably a 4 to 5 year time period where literally like my free time, if I wasn't like working on something, was just thinking of
strategizing.
Yeah, strategies. Okay, what if I opened up a wedding business? How much could that make? Okay, what if I do a traveling like an idea for like shooting resorts, right? Resort commercials. Like how could I pitch this? How could I pitch that? Okay, if I just do commercial work, like how do I send bids in? How do I get bids? How do I get like on these bigger budget productions? And you start to really kind of like just think of so many strategies and it can become overwhelming. And then what I've learned now, you know, years later is that it's good to have those strategies. It's good to have that practice. It's good to always think that way because you're sending out the signal for opportunity, right? Like your what's it called? Like your satellite is open, right?
Open, yeah.
You're seeing opportunity everywhere, but you also can't move because it's just like bombarding you, right?
Yeah.
And then you meet a person that gives you an opportunity. You know, it's like one single person. It could be one person that you never would have imagined. And they kind of open up like a little bit of bandwidth for you to go that way. Mm-hmm. And all these strategies, ideas still come with you, but now like you can funnel them into something, right? Mm-hmm. For me, it was a couple times in my career, a time where I really wasn't working. I was working at the restaurant. I left film school to be a freelance in 2017. 2017. It was 2018. I left school December 2017. I told my mom, give me a shot. Let me see if I can do this. Because I was already getting work, but I couldn't go do it in Kansas City because I was in St. Joseph and I had school. And I was like, I'm turning down money. It wasn't a lot. It was maybe like $100, $200. But I was like, I'm turning down money, Mom. Like, school is holding me back. And she was like, no, you have to finish. Like, you have 3 semesters left. Why would you stop? Like, and she paid for most of my school. I had grants and scholarships, but she paid, a good amount of my schooling off. So to her, it was heartbreaking because her biggest aspiration, her biggest dream was for me to graduate, one of her kids to graduate from college. She never went to college. She never even went to high school. So education to her has always been a dream that she never could accomplish. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to live that through me. Yeah. And she had successfully up to that point. I was on Dean's List. I was doing great in school. And I called her one day and I'm like, Mom, like, I got to do this. And she was heartbroken. My brother was pissed. He said I was spoiled and this and that. My dad and my sister were, like, okay, like, are you sure? Like, there was a lot of like second guessing. They're like, maybe you should think about this. But I did it. And I was like, no, I'm going to do this. So I left in the middle of a semester in film school, moved back into my mom's basement, told her to give me a year. And if I wasn't able to sustain myself, I would go back to school. And if I had to, I'd pay it for it myself, So January 2018, I had all these jobs lined up. They started falling through. Boom, boom, boom. Like this job fell through. And all this hypothetical money I thought I was going to be making just vanished like in a matter of emails. And I was like, shit. So now it's like late January. I'm just at my mom's basement. Mom like is coming home from work. Like, hey, like what's going on? Like you're still in the same, outfit you were in this morning. Like, what are you doing? And like, meanwhile, I'm like sending out like so many emails every day, Instagram, like DMs to every company, like just trying to get something. Right. And she's like a little worried. So I shot like maybe a couple music videos, made a couple $100, definitely not enough to pay my bills or even like my car insurance or phone bill or anything. But she ended up getting sick like in February. She had to get an eye surgery that was really, really intense. She could have lost her vision in that eye. So her recovery time was like 6 months. Like 5 or 6 months. So she couldn't run the restaurant. So me and my brother decided to go work the restaurant. My brother had just left his job as well. He was like not working at the time. So it was honestly like perfect timing. God like lined everything up for us to get through that time. So, most of 2018, I'm working at the restaurant, like all of, the winter, spring, and now summer, I'm working at the restaurant. I'm like, there's just no way I'm going to make enough connections, get enough clientele. So, by like May, I'm like, okay, like I'm not going to be able to sustain myself, And that time was difficult. Like it definitely helped me with, I couldn't creatively produce like videos, but I started making a lot more music. So I really worked in like developing my songwriting skill. And I was, I'd come home from the restaurant and go straight to the studio and I'd be recording, like so many demo tracks, so much music. And that was the first like year I released like an EP. But anyway, so video career like is toast, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get work. And then I get a random call in like July. I think it was June 2018. I was at the theater with my girlfriend and her friend, Suhei. And I get a call And this girl's like, hey, my name's Colleen. I'm calling from ITV. We're doing this Netflix show called Quire Eye. We're filming here in Kansas City. And your friend RJ recommended you. We need production assistants for the art department like tomorrow. Are you available? And I was like, what the freak? Like a Netflix series? I was like, yeah, I can be there. And she's like, okay, I need you to be here like at 5:30 in the morning. And it's like 10 p.m. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll be there. So I'm like super hype. I have no idea what to expect. I don't even know what I'm getting paid. I just said, yeah, I'm like, whatever, I'll be there. So I get there at 5:30. We travel like an hour and a half or something to like this camp in Kansas. And they were looking for more production assistants because I'm not sure if, are you familiar with Quire Eye?
Yeah, I know Quire.
Yeah. So
my
it's
wife,
like,
my wife watches it a lot.
yeah, it's a really good show.
Yeah.
They were renovating a cabin and there was a really bad storm on this campground and a tree fell on top of the trailer that had all the furniture. So they were like a day behind from the storm, and it was Friday, and Friday is like the big reveal. So the cameras come in and they show off the new house and all the appliances. So they were like scrambling to find people to help them, you know, like get the house furnished. So I pull up ready to go, and it's like 100 degrees that day. It's like July, you know, like just really hot. And that day was like hell, bro. Like we were like, I remember just digging, like I had a shovel digging like in this gravel to put flowers in, like flower pots. Yeah. So like my hands were bleeding. Like we're moving these huge like LG fridges or Samsung fridges like uphill in like the mud, trying to like fit them in this cabin. Like it was a full blown like workout, like for like 10 hours, you know. It might have been like 8 hours. But like all the production assistants were getting like sick. They were getting heat exhaustion. So people were throwing up, you know, people weren't hydrated, all this stuff. And, you know, I always try to drink a lot of water and exercise. So I was fit for it. And, you know, they ended up liking me and they called me back for the rest of the 2 seasons. So it was like another 5 months to work on that show. So they hired me on full time and I got to work on that show for 5 months. And, you know, they paid like not that much, but it was so many days that it was a lot of money, especially like all out of nowhere. So it was enough for me to be like, Mom, like I think I can do this now full time. And, you know, she had enough confidence, even though I was only a production assistant. She was like, oh, you worked on a Netflix show? Like that's insane. So, that's kind of how I was like my first glimpse into like what the production world could look like, especially at that level. And I learned so much on that show. Like just, there was like, you know, 60 people on set every day, you know, like 90 days, like 60 people on set. It's different departments, different, you know, moving parts, different budgets, different, like, you know, even managing receipts, returns, like all this stuff I started learning. And, yeah, it's kind of how I slipped in. Then I was a production assistant for a few years, and then I worked in camera, and then I worked in G&E. G&E is like electric and grip. So you do, you're in charge of setting up stands, setting up like extension cables, lights, running power to where it's safe, rigging stuff to make sure it doesn't fall. So like, yeah, I had like 2 years where I was just like kind of PAing, G&E, camera assisting. And I just learned as much as I could during that time. And then I made the jump to just work as a cinematographer and director like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations on that. Because I know the feeling of when you just get to a point where you just like, man, it's over. Screw this. Yeah. I had that not too long, like about a year ago. Mm-hmm. I was just like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not doing this. Yeah. This podcast thing is not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Forget this. I'm done. I'm just gonna sell all of this stuff and just call it quits. Mm-hmm. But people actually, mine was a different. People were just like, "You crazy?" Like somebody literally called me like, "Are you crazy? Did you just post on Facebook that you starting podcast?" I was like you're crazy. I was like, why? I was like, bro, do you know you're good at this? I was like, nah, not really. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, yeah, you're good at this. I was like, nah. And then a guy that we don't like each other. We went to high school together.
Yeah.
Somehow we just don't like each other. Out of nowhere, he sent me a long message, bro. Say, hey, I just randomly ran into your YouTube channel. I know we don't see eye to eye, but I just want to tell you that this podcasting, this interview thing you do is really dope, man. Congratulations and keep on it. When he said it, I was like, there's no way. I was like, if he said that about me, it means something is here that I can start working on. And man, just a beautiful story, man. Just when you just gave up, pretty much start doing music, taking care of your mom's restaurant. But if you're good at what you do, something is gonna speak for you. You know what I mean? If somebody just said, hey, I think Esai is the guy to call, and then you went there, you were not lazy, you went there, you actually put in the work, and then they see that, and then they brought you in for 5 months straight, for 3 seasons.
It was 2 seasons.
2 seasons, and then, man, some people don't come back after 1 day.
Yeah.
Some people don't come back after 1 season. 2 seasons. That's a great run.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Like, it was the most like unglamorous work, right? Like, I was a production assistant on the art department, so like we're going in to like rip out like carpet that's like peed on by dogs and cats. Like, we're like, moving heavy furniture, building IKEA stuff. Like, it was so far away from what I wanted to do, but I knew like someone gave me a shot. You know what I mean? It's like someone finally like gave me the opportunity. Like, I'm running with it. Whatever like I gotta do, I'm running with it, and I'm gonna be the best that I possibly can, because I know that energy is needed to get me to where I want to go. You know what I mean?
And recently, you were somewhere in the Amazon filming in a whole different capacity, because I seen the pictures of you actually being the camera guy.
Yeah.
This time around, you're not ripping cameras and do. How did that come about? Is that your second biggest work?
Yeah, so I work primarily as a director and cinematographer. So most of my business comes from me either working with directors to hire me to essentially shoot their stuff for them, or I'll get like projects that I bid on and that I direct. So I'm building a lot of treatments, building a lot of concepts, and just talking to companies, agencies, stuff like that. So yeah, right now primarily I work as a cinematographer director. But what's really exciting is I'm getting a lot more into script writing and more narrative projects. So, like movies, TV shows, and that's kind of my end goal. Like, I eventually, like, my goal right now is if I could like write, direct, even act, because I also act.
Yeah.
And like my own TV show, like a multiple season TV show, that's like my big goal, where I'm like, that would be cool. You know what I mean? That's like something that I've always wanted to do. But yeah, so, I'm directing right now, DPing, but we're making some plays right now to hopefully get our first feature film produced. Nice. And then maybe a TV show later down the road. It's right now it's just so complicated with all the strikes and protests that are happening in LA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like SAG going on strike, and then the Writers Guild and stuff. So I don't really know how indie films where they fall in that. Hopefully, if we can still get SAG actors or actresses, if it's an indie film, that'd be awesome. But we're trying to work through that right now. Did you watch? We did a mini series last year called Elevator Money.
Oh yeah. I watched it. I watched a couple of things in it. Yeah. I think I saw it on Schaefer Abraham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abrams.
Yeah. He I think he shared it on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
And I seen some of it. I loved it though.
Yeah.
I loved it though.
Yeah, so Abram worked on the music for it. So he produced all the music for the series. And we put it out we did a premiere last October. And it was dope. We got really good feedback, and then we're currently doing like a film festival tour with it. So it's like, getting in film festivals. We just got into the Philadelphia Film Festival, and we're waiting to hear back up for the other ones. But with that proof of concept, we were able to pitch it last year. We went to the American Film Market, and we had a couple of people interested in helping us, finance it or figure out how to make it.
That's dope, man.
Yeah,
That's a
bro.
beautiful thing. That's super, super, super beautiful. Just the ability to create something and get somebody else to look at it and appreciate it is no better feeling than that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's no better feeling than that. And telling you, when I put interviews together and somebody looks at it and really appreciate it, and this is simple things to do. This is not as complicated as film. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to kind of it's not even close. This is just me with 3 cameras, lighting, and just sitting there and having conversation with someone, right? Even at that minor scale, if somebody looks at it and is really appreciative of it, I just imagine what putting out a film, because it takes more from the writing process, script writing, then developing the script, then filming. Filming comes with thousands of other parts that's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lighting, camera work, directing, getting the actors and actresses ready, makeup, the outfits, wardrobe, stunts, all that other stuff that goes into that scene, prepping the scene, and all that other stuff that goes into it. Then it's filmed, then it goes into production, then it takes whatever other bureaucracy that needs to go on for it to be published.
Yeah.
To go through all of that and put it out, and somebody looks at it and goes, "Ooh, I'm gonna put whatever I have behind this to promote this." Must be a really satisfying feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to, like, I can relate to just like how you feel when people like compliment your podcast, because it's the same feeling I used to get when I was in high school and people would like love my YouTube video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's the same thing. It just, obviously the stakes are higher now. I invested my own money into make the proof of concept, and with the hopes to get it picked up eventually. So, now it's like, oh, well, this isn't for just fun anymore.
Yeah.
It is fun, but like, there's a good amount of, money in this now that I have to figure out if it's even viable. And, coming from a small market like Kansas City, we don't really know, the industry isn't here.
No, it's not.
So we're going out there to see like what they're saying, what their feedback is on our stuff. And when they're like, yeah, this is great, we want to see this, we want to see more of this, tell me more, like, it is a validating feeling to be like, oh snap, like maybe we do have something here that,
Even though with or without the validation, deep down in your heart that this is the thing. That validation just adds. It's just almost like somebody is saying, oh, you're right. You know what I mean? This is actually the thing that you need to push. It's beautiful, man. I'm telling you, it's just beautiful. Me personally, I'm just a fan in the first place. Trust me when I tell you, I'm a fan. I am very well calculated with the people that I have conversations with. When I tell you I'm calculated to the minute, bro. I'm very, very calculated. It's so many people that I know. Not so many. It's a couple of people that I know. When I bring them here, I can just shove these microphones in their face and ask questions, and they'll say some of the most outrageous stuff that has no importance, right?
Yeah.
And it will. And when I put that on the internet, it's just gonna. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, what importance is that gonna be to what I do? So I am very particular about the stuff. So whenever I reach out to someone, either through somebody or directly, right? I just want those individuals to know that I have a high regard. Like, I placed you in a really high spot, because not only do I want to come and sit. Some of the people that I interview, I end up having relationships with. You see what I'm saying? They end up like recommending somebody else to me, or they end up having something else going on. They're like, hey, Charles, this is what I have going on. I need you to pull up. You know what I mean? Or sometimes they don't even tell me. And I see that they have something going on, and I go and support it. And some of them support what I have going on. You see my point? So that's why I am very like, I safeguard this space as well. So I want to be able to pick and choose who I bring on here. When I when I reach out to people and they're actually like, yeah, I'll do it, and I'm like, damn, this dude is super busy, but he's still gonna leave his busy schedule and you know what I mean, and come and sit down with me, and it's highly appreciated. I just want people to know that. Man.
That's love, bro. I appreciate you, man, and I can feel your genuineness in this interview, and like I said, man, I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see what you do with this podcast.
Nah, I now you're putting a lot of pressure on me. I appreciate that. I appreciate that big time. Coming from you, man. You've had the opportunity to definitely look at this at a bigger scale. You've had the opportunity to sit in rooms and watch people develop real films that end up on Netflix. You know what I mean? It's like I'm looking at Quire. When I watch Quire Eye now, I'm just gonna be looking at it like, damn, he worked on that thing.
I'm actually in one of the episodes.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it's like season 3, episode 8, maybe, or season 4, episode 8. One of those. But Bobby is walking in, and they had to action me to walk out because they wanted him to like interact with the design team.
Yeah.
So I'm like carrying an empty box, and I forget what they said some bogus name like Derek or something. He's like, "Hey Derek, how you doing?" or something like that. And I'm like, "Hey Bobby," but it's like for a split second. So maybe you'll see it on there.
My wife watches it a lot. When I go home today and I tell her, I trust and believe, she will be like, she will be able to find it. And I don't watch it. But just things like that, to be part of those things. Those are just things from an African child, right? When growing up, we don't really have TVs in our houses. Not everybody grew up with a TV, right? Watching a movie alone, right? We used to be able to go to a video club. Imagine, like, you see that space right there, right? For people imagine this room, right? With one TV, not a 55-inch, let's say a 35-inch TV, right?
Yeah.
And they just have a bunch of long wooden benches here, like piled up, like lines of them, like rows and rows of them, right? And you have to pay like some money to get in just to watch a Van Damme movie or a Sylvester Stallone movie, a Rambo or something. You pay to get in just to watch this thing in this little box TV.
Yeah.
That they come and play, and then you watch it, and you pay money to get in just to watch, right? And so just that alone, coming from that to, okay, now your family's got a little better, you own your own TV, right? Okay, now you're watching TV from there. So it's very far from abstract. And from that point, being in a film or being even able to walk in a film, it's like Jesus. You know what I mean? It's like, it's insane. It's like this goal is almost unattainable. It's like, nah, this is not even possible. Yeah. Right? And then you come to America, and some way, somehow you end up starting a stupid podcast. Then you sit back and then you watch it on YouTube. The other day, one of my friends called me and said, "Hey, you on my TV?" For a split second, right? I was like, on your TV? I'm thinking movie. And he's like, stop being stupid. I'm watching your thing on my TV. Yeah. And I go, oh, bro, why are you saying it like that? He's like, are you not on my TV? I'm like, yeah. From that to sitting here and actually talking to you, who's actually in these behind the scenes in these things, your contribution made that thing a success. You know what I mean? Either minute or major. That's the truth. You know what I mean? So it's like, damn, this is actually, the goal is actually possible. Yeah. The goal, what I'm thinking of, being able to travel around the world and interview people and also create film that tells stories, the true stories of these people. It's very, very, very it's possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's beyond just podcasting, just being, for me, just being here and talking to you as
Mm-hmm.
podcasting and nice beyond that. Trust me when I tell you that. It's
Yeah.
it's nice beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go home today a little more motivated than I usually am.
Yeah.
I'm going today be like, shit is fucking possible.
Bro, it's possible. It's right there, man. I promise you it's right there. And like my friend Adrian told me, he's like, the only way the train stops is if you jump off, right?
Yeah.
So like once it starts going, like
It's just going.
it's going. And the only way to get off of it is if you jump off. But like you'll get to a point where all the stuff that you were just like, how's this gonna happen? Nothing's working out, blah, blah, blah. And then like boom, the train will start going, and then that momentum just keeps on going, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm actually in that transition. This week, for the first time in 2 years, this is the only week where tomorrow I have an interview here. Tomorrow, Tuesday tomorrow. Wednesday, I have another one. Thursday, I have another one.
Yeah.
For the first time,
Yeah.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And some of these people, I've reached out to them like months and months ago.
Mm-hmm.
They just read it and just like,
Right.
And then finally, people just hitting me up randomly out of nowhere, like, "Yo, I'm ready for a sit down now."
Yep.
Hey, hey Charles, my name is whatever. I'm a keen follower of your podcast. I want to be a guest on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually somebody whose name I already have written down
Really?
on some of the people I want to interview.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her. I actually replied, "Are you crazy? Is this real?"
Uh-huh.
It's like, what do you mean if I'm crazy? I was like, this is not real. You want to be on my podcast? She goes, yeah, I want to be there.
Yeah.
I was like, that's crazy. I was like, just last week, I thought about sending you a message last week about interviewing you.
Uh-huh.
Like, well, you don't have to send it.
Let's go. Yes,
Well,
bro.
That's just the thing. I mean, I'm excited for you. I'm just excited for everybody. I want to see people win. I want to see everybody do big things. I want to be able to just sit one day and be like, man, we gotta go to the premiere. Esai's film is coming out. We gotta go, you know.
Yeah.
We gotta go watch the premiere. I'm excited, man.
That day's coming, man. And also with your stuff too, bro. Like I think this is a great stepping stone to something bigger for you. You know what I mean? That. I mean, this is a hard ass stepping stone. Don't get me wrong. Like making a podcast consistently is not easy.
No, it's
you
not.
know.
It's not.
But I think it's gonna lead you to bigger and greater things. You know.
I don't know. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready, man. I think I've also put in a lot of hours in this, man.
Yeah.
Sleepless nights, man.
You have to, bro. You have to.
It's just a part of the game, though. The pressure, it's like, if there's no pressure, it's not even fun. You don't create nothing that's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no pressure, I don't think there's actually a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Because when I'm doing an interview the night before, right, and I'm not thinking about the interview a little too much, I'm like, oh, man, what am I gonna ask this person? What's this person coming in? What kind of energy are they gonna bring, right? If I'm not a little stressed out about it, then I have to force myself to dig deep.
Yeah.
And ask some of the most personal questions about people. So sometimes it can be people can also feel like, damn, why is he trying to be that's why I send people the whole thing. Usually I used to just send people one interview. Now I send you the whole page. Mm-hmm. So when you go through the whole thing looking at it, you're gonna be like, oh, hold on, about this is autism, mental health, this is this.
Yeah.
This can be personal.
Yeah.
Just so people know, so when they come, it's like they're kind of prepared for it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a blessing to have you here, man. I appreciate you big time, bro.
Of course, brother. I appreciate the opportunity.
I appreciate